Hey, how's it going, my fellow survivors? Hope you guys are safe and healthy. In this video, there's a few topics revolving around Naughty Dog, Sony, and The Last of Us Part 2 that I want to get into. And the first thing is the fact that Naughty Dog and Sony are going around and DMCAing memes in YouTube videos. Now, in my opinion, as long as you're not using screenshots or footage from the illegally distributed leaks, then you should be safe. I don't think Naughty Dog should be DMCAing your videos, giving you copyright strikes if you're not showing any of the footage in screenshot or video form. If you're just talking about the spoilers, I think you should be safe. And if you've received a strike just talking about it, yes, I 100% agree that's fucking wrong. And hopefully Naughty Dog can fix that and take away the strikes from you guys' channels. I'm over here talking Italian. Use guys' channels. And same with the memes. As long as your memes are not using screenshots from the footage, you should be safe. But from what I've seen, the majority of the memes are using the screenshot of She-Hulk holding the golf club. And that is an illegally distributed screenshot. So, of course, if Naughty Dog sees it, if Sony sees it, they're going to strike that shit down. Because that's just the way it is. That is the way it is in the gaming industry. You got to understand. I don't know if you guys remember back in 2013, but like a couple of weeks before GTA 5 released, there were people posting screenshots and footage of GTA 5 on their Instagrams, on Reddit, on YouTube. Rockstar was going through DMCA and all those motherfuckers. Same thing happened in 2015. Before Fallout 4 released, Bethesda was going through DMCAing YouTube videos, Instagram posts, and Reddit posts, because these companies did not want their game out there until the embargo lifted or until, release day. And that's just the way it is. And the crazy thing is, those leaks happened like a week or two before those games released. We are still a month and a half away from The Last of Us Part 2's release, and there are full cutscenes, full story spoilers all over the place for this game. So you got to understand, you got to see things from Naughty Dog and Sony's perspective. This is going to affect their company drastically. I mean, there are already thousands of people who aren't buying this game now because of the leaks. So from a business perspective, Naughty Dog and Sony are doing what they have to do. And I can't get mad at that. Even if I disagree with some of the strikes they're doing to channels who aren't showing footage or screenshots, I do agree that, they have to DMCA any Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, Reddit accounts, YouTube accounts that are showing this illegally obtained footage. That's just the way it is. And I don't know if you guys have seen that golf meme going around that people are using in their videos and posting on Reddit and Reset Era and whatnot, but I created that meme. I created that video using GTA 5 mods. And it's being used all over the internet. And my original video of that meme is still up on YouTube. Naughty Dog and Sony have not taken it down. And you know why? It's because I'm showing no screenshots or footage from the actual game. I'm not really talking about spoilers in that video. I'm just showing a muscular woman in a bikini hitting Joel across a golf course with a golf club. And, that's within fair use. So I think I'm good. I think it sucks that a lot of people that are using that video in their videos that are getting more views than my original video. It's kind of lame. I kind of wish, my original video would blow up and get some decent views like all these other YouTubers. But that's just the way it is. The next thing I want to speak on is the hacker situation. So apparently a hacker managed to figure out some special codes to get access to Part 2 and used a dev kit to play the game and record the footage that was leaked. It sounds a bit far-fetched, but there are multiple people corroborating the story, including Jason Schreier. Now, a lot of you may not like Jason, but when it comes to legit information, he's pretty damn reliable. He was the one that exposed Naughty Dog's crunch culture, so he really has nothing to gain or lose by lying. So I'm going to choose to believe that it was a hacker and not a disgruntled employee. I also read from a guy named Pixelbutt that Naughty Dog found out about it and changed the code so the person who hacked can no longer get access. Problem is that person already has the full game downloaded, and there's still a chance they could release more spoilers throughout the next month. Although at this point it really doesn't matter because all the major plot points are already known. The epilogue is the only thing that wasn't leaked, and I'm hoping it doesn't end up being a cliffhanger or setting up a third game. As good as a lot of people say the first game's ending is, I was a bit disappointed because it was a cliffhanger. I wanted to know what happened after they got back to Tommy's. And I'm not saying I don't want a third game, I do. Although maybe it should just be a spin-off with totally new characters in a different part of the world this time. Any surviving characters from part 2 just need to be left the fuck alone so they can live happily ever after in our minds. And something else I want to talk about is the major spoiler that has so many fans pissed off. I'm going to try to be vague in order to avoid a copyright strike, but we are forced to play as a character that kills a previously established character. And I just thought of another game that did that. One I'm sure you've heard of, a little game called Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, I don't know how many people played the Lost in the Dam DLC for GTA 4, but in that game, the protagonist you play as is Johnny Klebitz. He was a pretty cool and interesting character, and I'm sure he had plenty of fans that cared about him. Well, in GTA 5, Rockstar said, fuck Johnny Klebitz fans. And the first time they introduced Trevor, he brutally murders Johnny by stomping his face in. And I remember when that happened, I was shocked. I was taken aback because I really wasn't expecting Rockstar to have an old protagonist die at the hands of a new protagonist. This shit was crazy. And afterwards, I didn't know how to feel, but after playing as Trevor for a bit, I ended up loving his character and didn't even mind that he killed Johnny. Now, I know that's not really a good comparison because we developed a much deeper emotional connection with Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us than I ever could with Johnny in the 5 or 6 hour DLC for GTA 4, but I just thought it was something worth mentioning since there really aren't too many other games out there that have you playing as a protagonist that kills a previous protagonist. But yeah, I know fans are not only pissed that we have to play as She-Hulk, but they're also pissed because she's not a realistic character. They think she wouldn't be able to maintain those thick-ass arms in the apocalypse because of the scarcity of food. You would need to consume a lot of protein and have a high calorie intake in order to keep that kind of body, and I guess that's a reasonable concern. I mean, we do know that she has a big-ass gym in the facility she's living in, which is how she got the big-ass arms in the first place, but how she maintains them is a mystery. Maybe they're cannibals like David's community. Maybe after shootouts with Seraphites or other factions, they load up all the enemy bodies in trucks and take them back to the facility, chain them up, cut them up, and eat their asses like Alex Jones. Who knows? Alright, I can't properly speak about this without saying spoilers, so here's your spoiler warning. I'm about to speak on something major, so exit now if you don't want to be spoiled. Now, something else people are pissed about is how Joel is murdered. They think he was done dirty and overkilled, which I actually agree with. I mean, he looked like he had been beaten multiple times as he laid there on the ground suffering. I mean, they could have just shot him in the head once or something. I mean, he didn't make the surgeon or any of the other Fireflies suffer. Their deaths were quick. Well, unless you count those of us who used a flamethrower and burned all the Fireflies, causing them to scream and suffer. But still, I think that was a small fraction of people that played the ending of the first game. But yeah, just seeing him laying there like that before the final blow was heartbreaking as hell, man. And I can't wait to play as Ellie and kill everyone in that group. Especially Manny, the piece of shit that spit on Joel's body. I mean, who would be that disrespectful and just spit on somebody after they're dead? I'll tell you who. Mika, or Micah, however you want to pronounce his bitch ass name, from Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't know if any of you got the bad ending in that game, but I did. And in it, Mika shoots Arthur between the eyes, and then he spits on him afterwards. I mean, I couldn't wait to get payback as John Marston in that game, and it was so satisfying when I did. And I'm hoping the same thing happens with Manny, because as soon as I come across Manny in part 2, I'm going to chop his fucking head off with a machete if it's possible. Alright, now that we're talking about Joel, something else I want to speak about that I mentioned previously is Joel is not a saint, guys. He has done some heinous shit we don't even know about. I mean, we know the pre-apocalypse Joel, and we know the 20 years post-apocalypse Joel, but we don't know the 20-year time gap Joel. But we do know he did a lot of bad shit in that 20 years. It's confirmed by Tess when she says we're shitty people and it's been that way for a long time. Also by Tommy when he tells Joel he still has nightmares from those days, which means Tommy has definitely seen Joel do some terrible shit. And also Joel confirmed it when he told Ellie he's been on both sides and couldn't even give a proper answer when she asked if he killed innocent people. So for all we know, Joel has killed innocent children and women before in order to survive. It's not something we'd want to hear if he did, but it's definitely a possibility. I mean, he's killed hunters, Fedra soldiers, fireflies, potentially one of the last few surgeons on Earth. And you know, all throughout part 1, we killed everybody we came across. We didn't give a shit about their lives. They didn't have names, so we didn't think about who they are. Didn't wonder if they had a family, a kid, a significant other. We just killed everybody with no thoughts of consequence. Problem is, every action has a consequence. Karma exists, and we're going to see that in the sequel. In part 2, we find out that all those unknown fireflies we killed had families and friends, and they're coming after us. They weren't just NPCs, those were human beings that we killed. And that's the reason Naughty Dog added the name system to the AI in part 2. Everyone has a name, a backstory, a family, and a life outside of patrolling. And if you kill somebody, you could be taking away a kid's parent or making a wife a widow. And I feel like every kill in part 2 is going to have so much weight to it, and it might actually disturb some players, which I'm sure is Naughty Dog's intention. Now, something else I noticed in the death scene is when you're in the perspective of Ellie, everyone talking in the room is man or woman in the subtitles. But in the perspective of She-Hulk, you see the names of everybody. I think this is to show that Ellie doesn't know these people, and they're just an obstacle in the way of her main goal, which is She-Hulk. So when we play as Ellie, it's going to be the same as playing as Joel in the first game, where we're just killing everyone without caring who they are. And from She-Hulk's perspective, they're going to try and make us sympathize with her as she loses multiple friends to Ellie's path of revenge. Now, I do think they're going about this story in an interesting way. I just wish things were a bit different, though. I think having us play as Ellie the whole game, hunting her and her people down, would have made more fans happier, because that's the way most of us thought it would be in the first place. I mean, it really is just the fact that we have to play as She-Hulk that has so many fans against this game. But regardless, I'm still excited for this game. I'm conflicted on the story, but I still want to see how it plays out. And I know when I say that, I piss people off. It just seems like there's two sides to the coin. One side is us fans that are still hyped regardless of the spoilers. And the other side are fans who hate the story and no longer want to play the game, so they feel like because they aren't playing the game, nobody else should either. It's ridiculous. There's no civility, only hostility on the internet when it comes to part 2. I've watched numerous videos from start to finish where people are talking mad shit about part 2. And unlike most people on the internet, I don't hit the dislike button or leave hateful comments. That's because I have an open mind and I am able to listen to others' opinions without getting triggered or offended. Just because somebody has opposing views to me doesn't mean I'm gonna despise them or treat them like shit. People have every right to feel negatively about part 2. But just because y'all do doesn't mean you should shit all over the people that are still looking forward to it. I mean, y'all might be hating on this game now, but I guarantee the majority of y'all will be on YouTube June 19th watching cutscenes, gameplay, playthroughs, and reviews. If y'all didn't care about part 2, y'all wouldn't continue watching videos about it, making videos about it, or commenting on it. Hell, I'm excited for the game, and I've made less videos about it than all these haters. That's because they know videos hating on it will reel them in the views, and they got to get that clout and that ad revenue. So, for anybody who says they don't care for The Last of Us Part 2 anymore, yeah, you keep telling yourself that bullshit.
I saved her.